In this edition, we hear of a traumatized Canadian family after shooting robbery, disabled Bajans demonstrate for their rights, and the West Indies lose to England. Welcome to Nation News for Thursday, March the 13th, 2014.
At Courts, every day we bring affordability, convenience, innovation, and style to over 1 million customers in 11 countries. From homes to communities, we are proud to make a difference in the lives of many across the region. Courts, bringing value home.
A Canadian family remains traumatized after one of them was shot on Wednesday night at the St. John home where they are vacationing. 4 masked men barged onto the property at Bath in a robbery attempt. The father of Jonathan Huddle, who was wounded by a gunman, reportedly in his upper left side, spoke hesitantly and in low tones, telling Nation News he would prefer not to give media interviews. He did, however, say his daughter-in-law, Carolyn, and the rest of the family were still traumatized by the incident, though they did not plan to end their holiday prematurely. The younger Huddle remains hospitalized and is said to be resting comfortably after undergoing surgery. It is anticipated he will be in the QEH for a few days. The father said he was being careful about what he said about the incident since some members of his family back home in Canada had not yet been informed. Senior Vice President of the Barbados Tourism Authority, Avril Ba, said tourism officials were doing everything in their power to ensure the comfort and safety of the family. Disabled Barbadians have been demonstrating in support of their rights to parking. They are sending a message to those who park indiscriminately in the spaces allotted to the disabled. A representative number have gathered at Carty's Wildy and will carry on their quiet protest until Saturday with the backing of the hardware and general store chain.
To send a strong message to the public of the need of these car park spaces. And Carter's has been very supportive in extending a hand to the council. Yes, it is a risk we're willing to take, 43 days. At the end of the day, we're appealing to the good nature of persons, and I would expect that the general population of Barbados would recognize the cause and take heed and act accordingly.
Bridgetown isn't exactly blessed with green spaces, but that is changing. As we have reported, the Church Village Green project will be opened formally on Saturday, and officials of the central bank, which oversees the project, have pledged to make it a safe and secure place for the public to relax. Spokesperson Fran Wickham says the area will be patrolled by both private security and police officers and will carry closed captioned television cameras. She is soliciting ideas on how to use the space. Traffic along Church Street in the city will be restricted from midnight on Friday to 8 p.m. on Saturday to facilitate the park's opening ceremony. St. Giles Primary is said to be the first school in the Caribbean to introduce the Teaching and Writing, Reading and Spelling Skills Program, TRAS, a British-designed remedial literacy program teaching children about letters, speech sounds, and spelling choices. At Wednesday's launch, Director of the Caribbean Dyslexia Center, Yvonne Spencer, said TRAS could alleviate challenges with reading and spelling in schools. Training courses are also being held for teachers, with one scheduled for later this year. Directors of the Vocational Education and Training Program known as World Skills want to reach younger children and apprentice workers. This from Henderson Eastman, Executive Director of the Technical, Vocational and Educational Training Council. Currently, the competition is open to young people aged 16 to 22.
And what we're going to try to encourage, we're going to actually try to encourage workplaces to get involved in the competition where they have, because the competition is between 16 and 22, where they have young apprentices or young staff members. Companies can actually enter the competition now. So that's how we're going to broaden it. Another way we want to broaden into the schools. We want to expand to the secondary schools during the CPQ.
Mr. Eastman was speaking after receiving a sponsorship check from the CEO of the Nation Publishing Company, Vivian Ann Gittins. Health authorities are discussing developing legislation on organ and tissue donation for transplants. The CEO of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Dexter James, said the hospital had the capability to carry out transplants but wanted to do so safely. He also said that a lack of finance had forced the hospital to put the reins on its kidney transplant program. He could not give a figure on how many were waiting for new organs. News about our neighbors now. The jury is considering the verdict in the high-profile Vybz Kartel murder trial in Jamaica. The dancehall artist and 4 others are on trial for the 2011 murder of a friend, Clive Lizard Williams. A large crowd of Kartel supporters gathered outside the Supreme Court, chanting "Free World Boss" amid heavy security and a traffic lockdown of the area. At times, the scenes were chaotic. The trial has been running for 61 days, and crowds have been turning up over the past few days as it neared an end. Trinidad and Tobago's murder toll for the year has climbed to 96, 4 more than the corresponding period last year, as 3 more people died between Tuesday night and Wednesday afternoon. In the most recent killing, a 31-year-old woman was stabbed to death in a robbery at a business place. A Guyanese cargo vessel remained quarantined in St. Lucian waters for a 5th day as investigations continued into the death of a crew member and the hospitalization of another following a disease outbreak on board. None of the remaining 8 crew members has been allowed to disembark, while the cargo has also not been offloaded. The vessel arrived on Sunday from Guyana with a crew of 10 and a consignment of corn and soya products. Medical officials said the crew member died as a result of respiratory failure associated with bronchial pneumonia before the ship arrived in St. Lucian waters. Sport is up next.
The history, the legacy, the rivalry, the passion. We versus them. West Indies versus England. 3 T20s, March 9th, 11th, and 13th at the Mecca. We versus them.
Cricket. England have beaten the West Indies by 5 runs in a terrific finish to their 3rd T20 international at Kensington Oval. West Indies captain Darren Sammy needed a 6 off the last ball but failed to score as he reached and just connected to a delivery which was heading wide. The result means that the West Indies, who are missing the rested Chris Gayle, won the series 2-1. Of special note is that Barbadian Chris Jordan, who plays for England, made a muscular 27 and took 3 wickets to play a leading role in his side's win. Deandra Dottin of Barbados has returned from suspension for the Women's World 2020 Cup starting later this month in Bangladesh. Dottin, who holds the world record for the fastest century in a T20 match, has been named in a 15-member squad. She missed the recent tour of New Zealand because of her suspension for misconduct during a Tri-Nation series in Barbados late last year.
Sports was brought to you by We versus Them, West Indies versus England series.
And finally, a busy dual carriageway in northern England had to be closed by police as they searched for the severed, wait for it, penis of a man who was found severely injured. The 40-year-old was discovered in a distressed way on a highway in Middlesbrough. Officers were called to the scene and found the man with wounds to his groin area, and as a result he was taken to hospital. A 22-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of assault and is in police custody. And that's Nation News for Thursday.